We Americans have elected many well-endowed men to the presidency. Franklin Delano Roosevelt was born rich. Herbert Hoover had a successful mining business. And Lyndon Johnson had a huge cock. But crucially, these men accrued their privilege and wealth before entering the oval-shaped office. Meanwhile, today, I keep seeing headlines saying the sitting president has made an estimated billions of dollars while actively on the job. So it's time to ask some questions. Questions like, is this unprecedented? Or is it precedented? And what's precedented mean? To answer this question, I had to look into before times, also known as the past. Now, while I was born in the past, I'm certainly no expert in it. That's where historians come in. So I hit up Julian Zelizer, a professor of history and public affairs at Princeton University and author of The Long View on Substack. Really, the central question of this video is, do presidents always make this much money?
Right.
Trying to contextualize it for people.
And they don't. This is an area, there's a clear no.
Well, that sorts it, I guess. But I need 10 more minutes of video in order for my mid-roll sponsorship to kick in. The debt from that infrared sauna I financed with Klarna isn't going to pay off itself. So let's talk to someone else.
So we made a web, and this web basically represents the mixing of politics and profit making that's been a hallmark in the second Trump term.
Amy Walker is a reporter and graphics editor at the New York Times, who worked on a big piece late last year that laid out the different ways Donald Trump has made money in his second term. Amy was the perfect person to help me deepen my understanding of how Trump is making money, not just because she was an expert journalist, but also because of the unique medium she works in. Amy, first off, I want to thank you for using pictures instead of words.
That's my job, actually. We basically clustered all of this action around 4 different industries. So cryptocurrency, artificial intelligence, global real estate, and defense and technology. President Trump, through the Trump Organization, has had a really lucrative real estate portfolio. His sons now run the Trump Organization. He is not currently running that. But his sons have been negotiating Trump-branded property deals all over the world.
While President Trump has been in office.
While President Trump has been in office. And he benefits from those deals. He profits off of those deals. So DAR Global is a global real estate company that has strong ties to the Saudi government. And DAR and the Trump Organization have something like 8 deals for Trump-branded properties all over the world.
As Amy points out, one of the most prominent ways the president makes money is through the sprawling Trump Organization, which, among other things, owns condos, hotels, private clubs, and lots of golf courses, including the one where I used to caddy for Epstein. It also licenses out the Trump name to fill up all that usable blank space they got on buildings and Bibles. And while during Trump's first term in 2017, his family promised not to make any deals in foreign countries, this time around, they threw that policy out and started minting deals for a bunch of Trump-branded developments across the Middle East.
He created a meme coin in his name. It's a type of cryptocurrency. He's promoted that coin to investors who have then purchased the Trump meme coin. And as a result, there are trading fees that ultimately end up in 3 different entities that are tied to the Trump family. And some of those fees go back into Mr. Trump's trust.
And what is this? That says fight, fight, fight.
That is a corporate entity that is linked to the Trump family.
Called Fight, Fight, Fight.
Indeed. President Trump was originally pretty skeptical of cryptocurrency, and he's now a champion of crypto. So he's promoted investment in crypto from the Oval Office. He's rolled back Biden-era restrictions on the industry, but he's also standing to gain from these policies he's making because he's a player in the industry.
If you're watching this channel, then it's not news to you that it's tough sledding out there for normal people in the big bad world of finance. But today's sponsor is all about putting common sense saving and wealth building tools in the hands of the people. And the name of said sponsor is none other than Wealthfront. Wealthfront is on a mission to build a financial system that favors people, not institutions. That's right, a mission. No more, no less. Where traditional banks are built on high fees and clunky tech, Wealthfront is a streamlined, low-cost financial platform with products built to help grow your wealth, whether you're saving for a specific milestone or generally investing for the future. The future. The future. The future. And Wealthfront's cash account is the place to set off your saving journey. The cash account offers access to a whopping 3.30% base APY from program banks, which is 8 times higher than the average savings account rate. Plus, the cash account has the flexibility of a checking account with free instant withdrawals to eligible accounts, and through their program banks up to $8 million in FDIC insurance. And then when you're ready to start investing, you can pop on into your handsome Wealthfront dashboard and in mere minutes transfer funds into their expert-built investing account. I think you can all agree with me when I say cha-ching. Cha-ching. Join the over 1 million clients that trust Wealthfront today with a special offer for Good Work viewers. Open up your first cash account at my link and get a 0.75% APY boost for 3 months. This increases the total variable APY to 4.05% on your first $150,000. Just make sure to use my link to open and fund your cash account. Terms and conditions apply. This is a paid endorsement of Wealthfront. Client experiences will vary. Wealthfront Brokerage is not a bank. The base APY is as of January 30th, 2026 and subject to change. For more information, please see the episode description. Thanks to Wealthfront for sponsoring today's video. And now, Trump has reportedly made millions selling these meme coins and giving top buyers a chance to meet him and Mike Tyson for what I assume is a hearty lunch of steak, ketchup, and assorted prescription drugs. The president has also bought over $1 billion of Bitcoin through his media company, and he founded his own crypto company, World Liberty Financial, with the help of his special envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff. There he is.
It was last May that Trump and his advisors were pushing for the sale of microchips to the UAE. That same month, the UAE negotiated with World Liberty Financial, and the UAE purchased about $2 billion worth of one of World Liberty Financial's cryptocurrencies.
Same month that happened.
Last May. We didn't attempt to assess if these are conflicts of interest or if these are legal. I can say that President Trump has said he's exempt from conflict of interest laws, so this is all okay. And that's true. Presidents are not subject to conflict of interest laws that apply to government officials.
When asked why he didn't keep the more stringent restrictions on the Trump organization like he had in his first term, Trump said, "I found out that nobody cared, and I'm allowed to," which objectively is a baller thing to say. And indeed, the Trump family's ethics agreement for this term make it clear that the federal conflict of interest laws only apply to officers and employees actively working in the government, not the president. Trump also points out that past presidents have maintained private commercial activities while in office, citing the famous example of George Washington's business exporting cornmeal and Thomas Jefferson keeping his nail factory and tobacco farm. And what a beautiful operation for those guys as small business owners to run those completely on their own with no extra help at all. You don't see that. I'm sorry? Really? Now, it's worth pointing out that Trump's crypto and real estate businesses are far bigger than Jefferson and Washington's operations, but they're not the only way Trump's cashing out. He's also making money the same way my dad's band does, by selling sick merch. Presidential campaigns often sell merchandise to help fund their elections. I'm still wearing my Orrin Hatch thong. But President Trump is the first candidate to compete against his own campaign store with a personal store that he privately owns. And along with all those dog bow ties, bra tops, fig diffusers, and $575 quarter zips he's selling himself, the Trump organization has made tens of millions of dollars licensing his name to be used by other companies to make things like guitars, sneakers, and watches.
It is a way to make money, right? He has a lot of core supporters. It's almost like I call them kind of fans.
Shelby Talcott is 7-4's White House correspondent who's written about home goods companies cranking out Trump-themed merch, and I asked her to give me the view from D.C. Shelby?
In a way that I think a lot of other presidents have not had, he has cultivated this really niche base who love him. They will stand for 5 hours before an event in the middle of summer to go watch him. And so I think that these companies also see, well, there's a target audience for these things.
Where does his personal finances come into play amongst the general Trump sphere of news stories?
Honestly, I think it ranks pretty low. It should be something that breaks through more, but it doesn't really. There's been a handful of articles about it. Occasionally he's asked about conflicts of interest, but really it doesn't break through here in DC. And I think there's a few reasons for that, but the biggest reason being there's just so much other news going on, so much other breaking news.
And indeed, there is a lot of news going on that makes it nearly impossible to focus on what's important. The president's stock portfolio making trades in companies that he's actively affecting through policy, the president paying his allies with taxpayer money, the president absolving himself from ever getting audited in the future, ensuring he can pocket all this money we're talking about him making. Shut the fuck up, Punch the Monkey has a girlfriend. So why does all of this profiteering jib-jab matter in the scheme of grand things? If TJ could run his tobacco farm, why can't Trump be an international crypto real estate mogul? Was there any past presidential family that also tried to cash out while the patriarch was in office? Did Sasha Obama ever try and sell mugs?
There were scandals involving family members. So Jimmy Carter's brother, Billy, had scandal when he was in office. He was doing consulting involving Libya, and it became a big scandal. In the end, it wasn't shown kind of exactly what he had done, but there was an indication he was trying to profit that he was Jimmy Carter's brother. Obviously, there was the recent scandals involving Hunter Biden that we heard about many times, and the question was Hunter, the son of Joe Biden, profiting from his father's name, meaning getting consulting business overseas where he made money. Bill Clinton's brother also would get himself in trouble. So there's sometimes wayward family members who are trying to get a profit from the fact they are the sibling of the president. But nothing like this. It wasn't as if both of them or all of them were involved in a big business that's literally making millions and millions of dollars because of decisions coming out of the White House. Then the numbers we're talking about with crypto, for example, and his crypto business, there's never been a president who had a product that his family was involved in, making money, that was connected to policy decisions about deregulating that industry in particular of this sort.
The levels of graft and corruption that were institutionalized in the 19th into the early 20th century were pretty massive. So while Trump is a break from the recent past, it's more debatable whether he is as complete a break from our past in toto.
Zachary Karabell. Well, he's a historian and author who has written multiple books on U.S. presidents. He also wrote an article in the Washington Post contextualizing Trump's business dealings. He argues that while Trump's activities are over the line and potentially dangerous, he doesn't think they represent a fundamental threat to American democracy, citing examples through history of periods of corruption that our country has survived.
In the 1870s and 1880s, and even before that, almost all the positions in the federal government, including the post office and tax collection, was given out to your supporters. Now that clearly happens even today. You get an ambassadorship because you gave $2 million to the campaign. But in the case of the Trump administration, most of the graft is basically old graft. It's kickbacks, it's contracts awarded to friends. The selling of merchandise is a whole other thing that most other presidents, it just didn't occur to them.
Now, folks, I'm going to give it to you straight down the barrel. There has always been money in politics, especially now. I mean, this is America, the business capital of the nation, if not the entire world. And you might consider what Trump is doing to be a natural extension of our toxic slushing together of politics and money.
Some of it is money in politics, I think, desensitized us. There's been so much of it, and the regulations ultimately weakened. And we had a system where people are just accustomed to candidates constantly raising money from private interests. Finally, I do think it's a kind of celebrity political culture where and this is in both parties, we love the individual, we revere the individual. Presidents are kind of like celebrities in their own right. And so I think when they are branding things, we've reached a point where you're almost accustomed to that or almost expect it to happen.
What we're seeing from the Trump administration, does it matter when discussing the overall functioning of American democracy in your view?
I was making a point that I stand by, that graft and corruption can coexist with liberty and freedom, that they are not incompatible realities. What I'm saying, and I will say it again so there is no doubt, black and white. It's wrong, probably illegal, absolutely immoral. Some of it, I'm sure, is absolutely illegal. That does not in and of itself mean that the United States is less democratic, less free, less liberal. It means that we are profoundly flawed, hypocritical, often do not follow our own morals, and that has frequently been true in the past, and it is absolutely true in the present.
What is seen as so bad with Donald Trump making sure that he makes a little bit of money while he's in office?
I think the easiest way to think about this is, well, A, does this open the door for other presidents to act the same? And the reason that is a concern is because there are all of these questions about sort of, are there going to be pay-to-play situations? Are there going to be scenarios in which you have somebody able to influence policy and the president, him or herself, because they're doing business with somebody, with the president's son or the president's daughter?
We are in new territory, and it is, I think, the basic danger comes back again that, if you're a voter living in New York, living in Iowa, living anywhere in the country, you can't expect presidents to be perfect. We expect problems. We expect a certain level of corrupt behavior or politically untoward behavior. But at some level, we want to have confidence that the debates revolve around what's best to do about the problems we face. And that's where people are hashing out, not how can I make more money for myself on every decision I make. That's just dangerous.
Now, the president making a ton of money while they're in office might not impact the day-to-day life of the average American. But if the presidency is seen as a quick way to grow your condo, golf course, crypto empire, then I think it's safe to say we are doomed to have sociopathic podcast hosts running for president for the rest of time. Which is why, for the benefit of our great nation, I am now unilaterally declaring that it has to suck ass to be president. The presidency should be a brutal 4 years where you get paid basically nothing and come out the other side looking like a sunburned football like Abraham Lincoln did. And to be clear, this photo was taken before he got shot in the head. If we can make the presidency truly blow, then we can ensure that the only freaks who want the job are in it for the right boring reasons. Like, for the good of our country or believing in our neighbors or whatever. Make the presidency suck in order for our lives to not suck. That's a campaign I can get behind. And for good work, I'm Dan Toomey. It's been a pleasure to welcome you onto our YouTube channel that has a lot of subscribers.
Yeah.
So how many do you have?
1.58.
My 13-year-old said that wasn't that many.
It's 1.58 million, not 1.58 people.
Right.
He still thought that.
He did, yeah.
Amy, this has been great.